is the difference. Hi everyone, my name is Isa and this is Moody Eye Makeup channel. Today I'm gonna do a review on High Glam Concealer and Mini Eye Sculpt palette. I know that concealer came back, I believe, 1 year ago, something like that, and I always wanted to try it because I just heard the best reviews ever for this one. It's supposed to be even better than the one from NARS, and I'm super excited to see if that's true because I love that one. And then the recent launch, I waited for this package for 1 month. I just wanted to say this. Maybe a little bit less, but it was around 3 weeks at least. So because of that, this review is a little bit later than I was expected it to be. So let's see if these two products are actually worth the hype. If you don't know yet, now you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get ahead of videos that are coming, and you can book one-on-one session with me if you want to. Everything is going to be linked down below. Let's start with High Glam Concealer. This one is supposed to be medium to full coverage. It's a serumy concealer, hydrating concealer, long-wearing concealer, crease-proof concealer. We will see, but this is the shade N1, and you know, it's very hard to find the right shade online. Like with all foundations and concealers, I'm always neutral, and with concealer I didn't want to go for that rosy or yellowy shade. I really wanted concealer, not color corrector, and one was the lightest neutral shade, and I think it's quite dark. I don't know if this is the lightest shade. I'm super white in the winter, but there are people who are whiter than me. So I'm just gonna show you, like, can you see? For me, I believe this is going to actually work. In person, this actually looks darker than in front of those lights. But maybe for someone who doesn't have as dark under eyes as I do, and they are even more fair, I don't know, you still have 2 shades lighter, but one is rosy and the other one is yellowy. So I don't know, even though that Natasha Denona has 50 shades in this concealer, which I'm applauding to her, they are kind of forgetting the fair people. Just for the reference, my favorite concealers are Tower 28 Serum Concealer, Duo Forever Concealer, and which one? Oh, the NARS one, the famous concealer from NARS. And this one, it's supposed to be as good as the one from NARS or even better. So I cannot wait. Her packaging always reminds me a little bit of the 60s, the design, but it's nice. Quite a big doe foot applicator. It's a teardrop shape. Inside, in the middle, it has actually a hole where the product can gather. So let's see. I'm gonna do only one eye. Yeah, so this is going to work on me. It's light enough because my dark under eyes are super dark, and in comparison to my like brownie shade under my eyes, this is actually bright. Like usually I like to start with a very small amount, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna use a smaller brush just to push in the product a little bit. I'm gonna go in here as well, pushing it in, but not blending all the way. Now I'm just gonna leave it like that to stay for a few seconds so that it can do its job. So the shade is just right. I'm super happy about that. I was a little bit nervous. So the formula itself feels almost like concealer and a moisturizer at the same time. So it's not like thick, but it's not super runny. It's not watery. But it feels like very hydrating and moisturizing, which I really like with my super dry skin. It has this natural finish to it, which I also really like. So it's not super wet looking and it's not completely matte, which is very important to me. The things I really appreciate with concealer is that it creases as little as possible. All concealers are gonna crease because we move our face. You cannot expect 100% of non-creasing with makeup. Then to cover up my under eye circles, it would be ideal if I don't need to use any color corrector. And yeah, so that it's not too heavy and too dry, because I have we all do, super thin skin under the eyes. If concealer is a bit thicker or that it dries itself so that it goes like a little bit powdery, I hate those type of concealers. They look super cakey on me. So now I'm just gonna blend out. I mean, I heard only really good things about this concealer and I wanted to have it for such a long time. Yeah, this is really high coverage. I mean, I've used a lot, so right now it's, in my opinion, this is a high coverage concealer, but you can use it a little bit less and maybe just a tiny bit here. So I don't know if you can see. So I'm gonna use a little bit less of this concealer on my left eye so we can see the difference, and then I'm gonna top it. But this is the difference. My skin underneath my eyes feels super hydrated, very moisturized, and that's the thing that I love. Okay, so now I'm gonna use less so you can see the difference. For every day, if you want to just cover a tiny bit of your dark under eyes, but you don't want to go super like heavy duty like I did here. So I used a little bit less. Now I'm just gonna blend it in. I kind of didn't expect this to be so high coverage. Even though that I knew a lot about this product already, it's surprised me in a really good way. You can see that my under eyes don't look matte, they don't look cakey. You can still set it with your powder if you want to. I prefer actually not to do that, so I like a concealer that's in between, so that it kind of sets itself but not in a way that it becomes powdery or heavy looking. Even with the best powders underneath my eyes, it can look a little bit dry. So yeah, I hope you can see the difference because I certainly can. This is way more natural, but it still covered my under eyes. It looks a little bit more soft and everyday appropriate, but I love it, and you can still build it up, which is great. So it all depends on how it wears from now on, you know. The first impression is really good. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of this foundation that I'm trying on right now, which I'm really loving. Then I'm gonna go in with concealer on some other areas of my face. I've used the smallest amount of that foundation so we can apply a bit of concealer as well. So I'm just gonna, like, right here it's exactly the same shade as my face, and you can see the difference, how bright it looks underneath my eyes. And that's one thing that most people don't know about under eye correction. If your under eyes are super dark, don't go for the lightest shade. I was really lucky with this shade because I wasn't sure, and in person it looked too dark, but it's actually a perfect shade. And it leans, like the shade itself leans a little bit to the peachy side, which I was a bit worried, but actually for my under eyes that works really good. So it feels almost like the shade it's a bit too dark. That's so interesting. That's like a magic to me. It's super interesting. It's super weird that this shade is neutral because I would certainly say that this is a peachy shade. So you can see that it didn't brighten up this part of my face. And here you can see that it looks a bit dark and peachy. I hope you do. Like, if this one is going to wear well on me, it's going to be my favorite. So I'm gonna do the rest of my face and see you in a bit for this palette. So I've done the rest of my makeup. For underneath my eyes, I'm gonna try the best powder. Previous formula of Givenchy Prism Libre, because that one works the best underneath my eyes. So I think I should give it a fair try, you know. So let's try it out. So far I'm really loving this one. I'm so happy to find this concealer. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much before I truly tested it out, because I don't want to jinx it. I was really in a hunt for this kind of concealer that it's high coverage, but it doesn't feel dry and it's not too thick. So yeah, let's go for Mini Sculpt Eye Palette. So if you're not into makeup, or if you want to be really minimalistic with your makeup, you should buy this one. This kind of palette, it's perfect for that. Also for makeup kit, this suits everyone. With this type of palettes, they usually skip on the lightest shade and the darkest shade, but here you have all. So also when you're like traveling, you just need to take this palette and then maybe one special shade with you and you're covered. So I really like that these shades are actually just called fair, light, medium, deep and black. So there's no confusion there. It's super beginner friendly. At the back you have this drawing where you can see where to place each of these shades. And for the purpose of this video, we're gonna do just that. You should apply the lightest shade in the brow bone, right there. Especially with this type of palettes, they forget the lightest shade, which I'm always so bummed about that. You can have like black eye pencil or eyeliner with you with a palette if you don't have like a black inside the palette. But I mean, you can use the highlighter for inner corner and for brow bone, but if you don't want that to be shimmery. But Natasha Denona really knows her stuff. She included the lightest shade here as well, especially if you are dark in this part of your eye. These type of shades are gonna save you. You can really see that I'm actually just applying it even higher here because I'm super dark there. The second shade, according to this drawing, it should go like across the eyelid. Of course, you can apply it however you want. So I'm just going across my eyelid with this one, and I'm actually bringing it a little bit higher to the crease. So this one is going to be my transitional shade. This is a perfect transitional shade actually for me. It's not too warm and it's not too cool toned. I love it. Can you see this? With my eye makeup, I like to stretch it a little bit outwards. I just think it suits me better. Third shade should go underneath and then in the outer corner on the crease. So I need smaller brush for that. So I'm just gonna use this one more so in the inner corner of the bottom part of my lash line, right there. So it's not as dark as I thought it's going to be. Let's do the V shape with this one. This is so easy to blend. They're pigmented enough, but they are not too pigmented. And you can build them up, which is really nice. Because my skin is really, really light, I don't need to build it up too much. But if you're darker than me, then you can go full in. So it has a little bit of kickback. Just so you know, it's nothing crazy. If it's not too much, it doesn't bother me. And if it doesn't have fall down as well. So the fourth shade should go underneath the eyes, more so in the outer corner. So right there. Just gonna blend it out a little bit. I'm gonna actually use a smaller blending brush because I'm gonna use it on the same position as I did with the previous shade, but a little bit more concentrated. So I'm just gonna darken this part a little bit more, nothing too crazy, just a tiny bit. And then I'm just blending out this shade. So I can do a separate video if you would like me to, how you can achieve different looks with this very like minimalistic, very natural eyeshadow palette. Just write in the comments down below if you would like me to do that. And then of course the blackest black as eyeliner. I hope this one is not going to fall down too much because I've already done my under eyes and I really don't want to do it again. Okay, let's see. So because I have hooded eyes, I prefer to do my lines super thin, but you can do a thicker line if you want to, of course. This was quite easy. So I really wanted to apply this one dry. Usually you can achieve a little bit more pigmented eyeshadow if you apply a little bit of water to the brush. But I want to see how dark it is on its own, and it's quite dark. I'm super impressed by this eyeshadow palette. This was so easy. The blending is just a dream with these eyeshadow formulas. I'm just gonna apply a bit of mascara and I'll be right back. My makeup is done. I'm gonna do a test wear for this concealer. But my final thoughts for this eyeshadow palette, it's amazing. I think everyone who wears eyeshadow should have this eyeshadow palette. It's just incredible. I kinda predict that she's gonna release this neutral eyeshadow sculpt palette with a bit more cool toned. These are really neutral. Like, these browns are super neutral. They are not that warm toned at all. I would even say that these are quite cool toned. They are not like grayish. You still got that brown, but it's not that orangey brown, and I love it because of it. I think it's like a really versatile eyeshadow palette. The formula is just incredible. It's, you know, Natasha Denona, and if you can afford, I think it's better to pay a tiny bit more for this one and really have the best formula that is not gonna give you a headache, that is going to be super easy to use, blendable. In my opinion, if you're not like makeup addict where you have a lot of makeup at home, you only need this palette and then maybe some eyeshadow topper and you're done. You don't need more than this. I'm super excited for this, here it is, this concealer. It feels really hydrating underneath my eyes and not heavy at all. It looks beautiful and it really did give me that full coverage. Now it all depends on where. I know maybe this purchase looks a bit boring, but actually I'm the most excited about these two. So that's it. If you enjoyed this review, then please don't forget to like, subscribe and turn the notification on by clicking the bell button down below. You can also now, I'm super excited for this one, subscribe to my weekly newsletter and book one-on-one makeup session. Have a lovely day and see you in my next video. Bye.